most probably does not know the value of education. But I'm sure somehow, someday, we are going to overcome that and give the mission that is critical. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so did you finish the last exercise? Yes. Okay. So we have seen, based on your own assessment, we have seen the good things you are doing, and we have also seen the not too good things you are doing. But we are on this slide now. And the students that you are teaching, these are their needs. You know, in the university, when they hand over degrees, they say this degree is giving what? Character and learning. So when you forsake the character and you concentrate on academics, you produce the kind of table we have there. Mm-hmm. So we have first class graduates that are defrauding banks. Just in 1 year, first class in accounting. And it's defrauding banks. We have first class, excellent medical doctors that are making billions from our body. That's what you do when you focus on academics and leave the spiritual and the other aspects of learning. So for you to be a good classroom manager, just like one of us has just said, you need to focus. Anytime you stand in front of students, you need to ensure that you meet all the needs, emotional needs, spiritual needs, academic needs, and the physical needs of students. The first person that shared with us, learning in an unconducive environment. You went to the class to teach, and the class is very dirty. And you say, what? Taking concern, I'm here to teach. I'm not the sanitation prefect, or I'm not the sanitation master. That's not a good way to manage your classroom. So basically, there are several ways of managing classroom, but I selected these three. We'll work on these three for now. As we proceed, we'll do with the rest. The first one, and I want to thank Enoch. Yes, I want to thank Enoch for that elaborate definition of classroom management. Good. So the first one is the authoritarian style. The teacher is in perfect control. In short, the students, sometimes you ask the students questions, they are afraid to answer. The reason they are afraid to answer is because the other student that gave the wrong answer, they saw the kind of knock you gave to that one. Do you understand? So you ask the students questions, they are afraid to answer because they are afraid to make mistakes, because they know the implications of making mistakes. And then the other style is democratic style. We're all in democracy. By the time I'm done, you will choose the one that you are doing before, and you choose, and then you will see whether you want to adopt the one that is more proper. And the last one, this is a French word. Is there a French teacher here? Pronounce it for me. The third one. This type of teachers, they are unable to control. The classroom is almost always unruly. Once they go to class, whatever they see, that's what they take. They don't do anything to assert their authority in the classroom. The students are making noise, they are still teaching. They say, if you like, make noise, what's my own? When I cover this lesson, I know I've covered it. Those are the laissez-faire teachers. So basically, this is the tree. And with the new teaching environment that is being encouraged, it's the one in the middle that is being encouraged. Because, like the principal told us, in this generation, the learning is student-centered. Student-centered. When students participate in the learning process, they have more understanding. And the teachers that can achieve that are teachers that use democratic ways of teaching. And in that way, authoritarian, the students cannot ask you any question. Whatever you say, your own is just like a military. Do it because I say so. Do you know any teacher that the classroom is normally very, very what? Quiet. Like I told you, the students are afraid of you. When you say, do you understand? All of them will say, yes, sir. So that you can leave them quickly and go. So please, we need to check. If you want to create a conducive learning environment in your class, you need to change from being an authoritarian teacher. It's not good for your students to be afraid of you. Because if your students are afraid of you, it will limit the amount of information they will assimilate when you teach. So how many types of methods do we have here? The first one is what? The second one is what?
Democratic style.
This democratic style is students participate freely. They are not afraid to ask you questions. Because they know that when they ask questions, you explain. They are not afraid. You tell the students the reason why you are asking them to do what they are doing. Do you understand? And then, of course, it's not the students know when to play. Because, of course, sometimes the teacher will crack jokes for students to ease the tension, isn't it? Yes. So when you crack jokes, the students want to laugh. But when you want to stress a point, the students know when to listen and when to play. That's the democratic one. I've explained the autocratic and the democratic. The last one is nothing concerning. After all, they have not paid us our salary. So if you want to make noise, you make noise. So, all right. So effective teachers manage their classrooms, while ineffective teachers discipline their classroom. So ask yourself now, the current method that you are using, when you go to your class, are the students happy to see you? Do they feel free with you? Can they ask you questions? Can they share their personal problems with you? My dear friends, I've tried most of the methods I'm sharing with you now, I've tried them personally before. I know what it means for students to be afraid of a teacher. You know, when I was in this school, there are some teachers that I don't want to call their name, but if they mock you, you have a I didn't call any name. So you dare not make noise in their class. And if they say, do you understand? Everybody say, yes, sir. You know, they say, most of you are not that are all right, so please. So in this slide, I want to explain, like I said, there's no way you can copy and keep this with us. You have a group WhatsApp of staff of St. Francis to be sent to you free of charge. So number one is what? Everybody reading for me. Number one? Optimal learning. Sometimes you need to change, like our colleague just said. So if you know that two students are always making noise, you need to change their seats so that you can have peace. So sometimes when you enter the class, the first thing you need to do is to change the seats of those that are troublesome. If two troublesome students sit together, you're going to have trouble. Number two, read for me. 1 to go.
Minimize disruptive behavior.
Yes, you need to find ways. You need to find ways to minimize disruptive behavior. If not, for how many minutes is your lesson now? 40 minutes. If you are not careful, if you don't learn how to minimize problems, you will settle 20 of those 40 minutes settling for in the class. Yes. Teacher was just passing, he pinched me, and then instead of you to finish what you have planned to finish, you are just doing a crisis management in your class. And like I said, if there is a funny joke, laugh. Do you understand? Yeah. Don't be too serious that students are afraid of you. And it's always important that your students know when you are going to stress a point. And normally some teachers will repeat those points to give emphasis to it. So basically, these are the 6 steps you may need to take to manage your classroom very, very effectively. Now, our sister shared with us, we must always understand that all students don't understand at equal levels. Yes. Never. Even in this class, I don't expect that all of you will understand me at equal level. Some of you I have to repeat and repeat and repeat before you even understand what I'm trying to talk about. The teacher that does not understand that will come into the class and teach only the intelligent students. Because some children, by the time you are finishing asking the question, the answer is already in their head. And you say, who wants to answer? They are the first to put up their hand. And once that first student put up their hand and answer, as far as you are concerned, you have communicated. But the other students don't, they are not even processed the question yet. Not to talk of understanding it. So if you are not careful, you go to class and you teach only intelligent students. Meanwhile, in that student, like she said, slow learners. So when you go to class on a normal day, who do you teach? Intelligent students, average students, slow learners. They are introverts, they are extroverts, they are children with all types of mood in the class. I mean, a child recently, one student came to my class, and I told them that those of them that have bad results, they should come and see me. So one of the students came and said, sir, I said, but you look very intelligent. Why did you fail this time like that? You know what she told me? He said, sir, my parents are going through a divorce. And in the university, we don't make provision for those kind of students at all. We come to class, we know that you are all fine. You pay school fees, you are fine, you are ready to learn. We don't ask you whether your parents are going through a divorce and whether that affects you. We don't care. But this student failed because of that distraction in her family. So whenever you go to class, you must always understand there are different, they call them social dynamics. There are different types of students in your class. You have extroverts, you have what? Introverts, you have reserved students, and even in this class, you find this quality here. Because I know that some of you, if you stay here for 2 weeks, you will never raise up your hand to answer any question. And that does not mean you didn't understand, but you are not the talking type. Some people struggle speaking in public. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. So anytime you stand in class as a teacher, you must have at the back of your mind that the students you are teaching have different personality types. So don't always focus on the extroverts because they are the first to raise up their hands to answer questions. And don't neglect the reserved ones. Some students, the only thing they know is how to play. Everything about them is play. Anything, if you want them to understand anything, add play inside. In the class, they may not talk, but take them to the football field and see. They will become the loudest people. Do you understand the point I'm making? Yes. So if you have to be a good classroom manager, anytime you step into the class, know that these are the type of people that you are going to meet. And then your teaching method must address everything, every of those groups. So this table gives an analysis of those types of students. So I will start with this plate. Extroverts. They are normally workaholics. They are energetic. They are very competitive. And when you make an introvert, somebody that is an introvert, very careful, very quiet, very reserved, you go and make that kind of student the class monitor. That class will never be in order. Because it doesn't have the capacity, the type of person he is, it doesn't have the capacity to control. Introverts don't have that kind of capacity. They are quiet, they are reserved, and unfortunately, you make that kind of student the class monitor. So when you say, bring to me names of noise locally, that kind of student will never bring anything to you. Because that's not why they are in school. That's not their personality type. But imagine that the extrovert in your class is also the class monitor. Look at, you see oppression in that class. In the university, they will even collect money from their fellow students on the authority of the teacher. They say, the man said you should do this, they will collect the money and chop. The teacher will not do it. And like I said, there are students that are depressed. There are students that are depressed. So this table is just to break down what we have said before. So a teacher that is a good classroom manager understands these personality types and ensure that every child is carried along. If you are not able to do this, then you need to upgrade your teaching skill. If you are not able to do this, you need to upgrade your classroom management skill. Do you understand what I've said?
Yes, sir.
Every child in the university, I tell them, once you pay your school fees, you are qualified to ask the teacher any kind of question you want to ask, because that is part of learning. So every child in that class needs to be carried along. Don't just focus on the people that are answering, and then you go back with the assumption that you have communicated. There are some children that will always raise their hands to answer questions in class, but there are others that will never raise their hands and may never utter a word in class except you single them out. Do you understand what I'm saying? You need to single them out. You have been quiet since morning. What do you understand by what I've said? That's the way to carry those kind of students. That's the way to make them feel part of the class. So you need to single them out and ask those kind of questions. I've said it before, an introvert will not make a good class monitor. And in education, they call something educational psychology. So you need to know the kind of student that you are dealing with, even in selection of class monitor. So these are the benefits of classroom management. Like I said, there's no way you can copy to quick paste. We'll send it to your WhatsApp. Please, just take time and understand. So number one, it builds relationship between the teacher and the student. It also builds trust. When your students trust you, they can confide in you. They can tell you why they are not talking, or they can tell you why they failed the test and why they failed the test. It fosters involvement of students and cooperation in the class. Let it not be that you are the all in all. Give the students some responsibilities in your class, so that you won't have to come to class and then you are the one to tell them pick up the pieces of paper. When you give them responsibility, the person in charge of that responsibility